Chat. Welcome back to the Run My Crypto Blueprint, guys. This is the coolest podcast in crypto that was created by myself, Mr. Run My Crypto. Guys, we got an awesome live today. We're going to talk about this ecosystem thing. Some people don't understand what the ecosystem is, what it does, but we are going to cover it in many different areas and angles that we could possibly get to give you guys nothing but the best knowledge behind building a crypto ecosystem. So, if you guys could hear me, let me get that thumbs up. Make sure that we are good when it comes to you guys being able to hear me. Want to make sure that everything is kosher. Looking at the markets today, we're seeing the markets at, let's check them out. Let me head to the markets real quick. The thing is, they've been holding up pretty good, in my opinion. In my opinion, I think they're holding. Obviously, we've seen a crazy dip, but you know, it's part of the game. Well, yeah, we got some green. Looking at some green today. Not too much, about 10% on some projects are a little bit up. All right, so let's get into it. Let's talk about building this ecosystem. Hopefully, guys, again, like I said, you could hear me. So, we're going to talk about building an ecosystem inside cryptocurrency, what that looks like, and what you guys can do to position yourselves for it. So we'll talk first as the essential steps to building a strong crypto ecosystem, right? Is we have to establish a robust infrastructure. When it comes to establishing a robust infrastructure, you want to make sure that you are creating what is a sustainable crypto ecosystem. Which it's the core of your projects. Scalable blockchain architecture means like high throughput projects, low latency with low fees, security first design, audits, formal verification, stuff like that. Developer tools and SDK that lower the barrier to entry, and reliable node and validator operations, ensuring decentralization and uptime. So what does that look like? So that looks like projects like, the main things that you want to take a look at when you're looking at projects like this is which ones are cheap when it comes to processing transactions, which ones are basically compatible with these ISO 222 tokens, because I believe that they're going to be the first stage of how crypto adoption really becomes to a formulation of being necessary for people to use. Now XRP, QNT, XLM, there's a lot of projects that essentially are going to be implemented into the banking system. So we want to find these projects that are compatible with them, that are going to work with them. If you guys know Jasmy is going to be interoperable with, I believe it's Q and T. So they're kind of paired up. So it puts Jasmy in a perspective that there's utility behind Jasmy, right? Because we know that QNT and Jasmy have some formulation of partnership. So that should tell you right off the bat that Jasmy is a good project, not a scam project like a lot of people were talking about. IoT is going to be huge when it comes to building this next wave of technology, right? So everything's pretty much going digital. People are saying that Bitcoin is going to crash and go to zero, but there's just no way that that's even possible. Because why? Because there's so much adoption that's lying in the road ahead of us, right? So look at these projects that are going to be essentially capable of working with these ISO 222 tokens. That's like key. Also, real world utility is going to be pretty pretty popular and pretty necessary the uh the going into the next wave, right? I hope I'm real. I don't know what kind of question that is, but shout out to you. Am I real? Yes, I am real. I'm a real human being person. I am not a robot. I am not a robot. Anyways, let's go. Let's get into it. So it's like you want interoperability and expandability, right? So why do we want to look at coins that are in the low market cap? Because we know that the founding cryptocurrencies are extremely expensive and the ROI on some of those is not it's not going to give you what you're looking for. I think that the return on investment is going to be built within these projects like Jasmy, SBCN, I mean ZBCN, like your reactive network, Cellframe, Digibyte, Filecoin. There's a lot of good projects out there that are going to be extremely valuable when it comes to you know, being able to talk to these ISO 222 coins. So how projects can work together and create long-term value? So shared standards, and this is what I've been talking about. It comes with like the CCIP, right? So Chainlink, those connector projects are very, very important when it comes to being able to stimulate the ISO 222 tokens. So what it looks like, building these building these ecosystems, it is risky, right? Because I think building it towards the lower caps, there's a lot of volatility when it comes to investing in a lower cap. Shout out to Josephine Marina. Appreciate you. God bless you. Thank you so much. When it comes to building these ecosystem with high volatility, it's a little scary, but you could essentially build them with, you don't have to like sell the house, you don't have to sell the car, you don't have to like, kill your savings. You don't have to do that. You could essentially do 100, $200 a month and start buying into these projects like ZBCN. It has its 0.003. You're essentially not putting a whole lot into it, but if you're in it to build an ecosystem for the long run, because crypto is not going anywhere, we've already seen that. It's already been validated that banks are turning to ISO 222 tokens. So that's just like the green light saying that crypto's not going nowhere. And you have XDC, all these big projects that are going into the banking system, and they're being put in place so that banking becomes digital. Now we know what's next. What's the next stage? Utilizing these other cryptocurrencies that actually have utility and value that makes that initial system work. So that's what it is. That's what it does. That's why you have to start looking at these smaller projects. You want a long-term value formula, right? You want to create something that we know is essentially long-term, but we know that there's projects that once they start to flourish, like your reactive network, your Jasmy, your Cell, your DGB, your Litecoin. Litecoin is what I really been trying to emphasize in people and going that route because it gives you exactly everything that Bitcoin gives you, but for a very, very minimal. price, right? So and Bitcoin's at 80 grand, Litecoin is at $80. That's the big difference is that you're investing in something that's not a whole lot of money, but the return on investment's still there because we know that you can make a lot of money off of Litecoin because Litecoin has a lot of room to multiply in terms of how many X's it can get. Shout out to Kim Sims, Crow to the moon, XCN to the moon, Swiftcoin to the moon. I'm 100%. I agree with that. Those are some solid projects, and Swiftcoin was is another one of those that should be in your ecosystem because there is maximum potential with that project to expand. Crow, I think also that the government has a plan for Crow. What's up, New Zealand in the house? Due to recent events, do you think the world owes Germany an apology? Politics, I think that everybody should just, become good with each other. It sucks that we have to deal with, um, a battle of who thinks that they're better. It's like when it comes down to it, unity, um, one love, everybody should just love each other and not deal with all this other crap politically. But of course, there's a lot of differences with that. But when it comes down to it, building your ecosystem is extremely important. And like I said, when it comes to ecosystem, you really want to create something that, the we'll talk about economics, right? So when we talk economics, we have different stages and different things that we do to formulate a position to make money or to find resources that provide for us. In this case, the resource is the crypto projects, and also obviously that we could create a lifestyle, or with crypto you could create basically a secondary uh, line of money coming in, right? If you could get your ecosystem up to a certain level, then you start taking some of that profit and putting into something that's going to give you a residual income, like, when it comes to, say, buying stable coins, because now stable coins are going to become important to have because I think essentially every world, I mean, every um, country, every state across the board, across the globe is going to be using stable coins versus using their native currency fiat, because once the banking system go and everybody starts to adopt banking systems. But look at XRP, they position themselves to basically be used across the entire globe, right? I think XRP's plugged in with the biggest banks in Japan, China, Africa, Canada, United States, other foreign countries. There's a lot of different countries that XRP has positioned themselves to provide a access or payment rail to be utilized everywhere as a digital asset. So it's happening, and it's happening now. So the best thing to do is create the ecosystem, create these projects, or invest into these projects that essentially make sense to you to be able to work with XRP. How many projects, even Jasmine's work set up to work with XRP? I know that a lot of other different projects are, on the ledger or have access to the ledger, XRP ledger, Ripple ledger. So that's what we need to start looking at is, which of these projects are essentially going to be able to be compatible with XRP, XDC, QNT, XLM. Who else is on there? There's a few others. There's a few others. I mean, when it comes to big banks, you're talking about like BlackRock. You're talking SB. I think it's SBI in Japan. UK. They have some big banking investors in the UK that are essentially going into digital. A lot of countries use the SWIFT system, but the SWIFT system's obviously going away. Um, and the thing is that look at XRP, the way that XRP is set up. They don't have a f- they don't, I in my opinion, I don't think they have a cap on how many tokens they can create. So I think they're one of those infinite type of projects that could continue printing more tokens. Like they could continue to print more Ripple tokens. Um, and that's where it's like, okay, you know, what did XRP do? They set themselves up to create massive, massive adoption globally. They have an unlimited amount of tokens. So now they could essentially control or monopolize the market by being able to continuously produce more XRP or Ripple Ledger tokens. Now, if you think about that, that could continuously, you know, it could continuously grow. Um, but what I think when it comes to creating the global adoption is going to be down to stable coins, right? That's what's going to be important because stable coins generally hold their value, they don't change. So everybody's going to be needing stable coins to do business in a crypto environment with web3 utility starts to pan out. So finding the right projects, utilizing whatever, it doesn't matter. In my opinion, it doesn't matter what stable coin you use because every stable coin I believe in is going to hold the same amount of value. So it kind of makes sense to understand that, yes, stablecoin across the globe will level the playing field for every country, every nation. The stable coin has the same value. That means that one stable coin is worth $1 or whatever here. One stable coin is worth the same in UK and Asia and Africa, everywhere. So just let that sink in. That's going to be our spending power is stable coins and understanding that the projects that are important to cryptocurrency are the ones that are going to prevail. And that's why it's very important to build ecosystems and build something for your future because right now, all these visionary projects, they have a vision, they make sense, but then there's some that there really is not utility behind them or there's no purpose. And so that's what we have to understand is what's the purpose driven projects that are really going to bring us value and potential for the future, especially what direction that we're going. So when it comes down to it, Ripple has XRP basically there's interoperability between a lot of pretty much big majority of the crypto projects. They're not necessarily so with Jasmine, they're not necessarily partnered with them, but they're essentially um they're essentially what they're doing is SBI Bank in Japan is partnered with Ripple. Now, Jasmine has a partnership with SBI in Japan as well. So that kind of connects the dots between Ripple and Jasmine is the SBI partnership, because whatever plan that Jasmine has to utilize SBI, the same is true um with the same is true with XRP to SBI to Jasmine to XRP. So that's how you're gonna get them being that's how Jasmine's gonna be able to connect with XRP, because in my opinion, SBI is basically gonna probably, and I'll be sure to look this up so I have crystal clear answer for you. But what I think is XRP is gonna be turning SBI into a digital position to where Jasmine is gonna be able to link up that through interoperability through junction and connecting them through GPUs and stuff like that. So that it comes down to all how it works in the future and how you'll be able to put that together and tie it together. So it's not necessarily that Jasmine has a partnership with XRP. It's a deal that Jasmine has a partnership with SBI and XRP has a partnership with SBI as well. So that's kind of how that works. So we got a little bit off topic, but that's kind of what I wanted to get across today. And this one is just setting up, your ecosystems and how to really what really to look for in projects when you're building your ecosystems. Always focus on real world use cases. I don't know, to be honest with you. Um, As with XRP, get what you can as much as you can and you can afford. That's what it comes down to. The price is not that crazy. It's under $2 right now. So I mean, just keep stacking dollar cost average, you know. Eh, The thing is that the bull run and the way that the crypto's changing is like the volatility for drops, you've already seen it. The volatility for raises and increases in value, you've seen it. Um, so just my biggest take on, or what I could give to you as value, is that play this the long game. This has to be a long game play. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's something that takes discipline, consistency, lots of research, understanding what to buy. So when you focus on real world use cases, look for payments, payment rails, decentralized finance, enterprise, government coins. Like you have the United States, they're basically funding World Liberty Financial. I mean, that's like the fastest stable coin and fastest crypto project to grow. It essentially grew to multi-billion-dollar market cap real fast. Uh, Less than 2, 3 weeks that it came out, it was already at, one or $2 billion. And look for on-chain social creator tool projects like Veracity. You have Render. There's a lot of other ones like that. Those are going to be valuable because people are really going to be using that stuff. So the meme coins, I've never been a huge meme coin guy. I did essentially like meme coins, but I got into Shiba Inu, and yeah, it didn't work out. It didn't pan out. But on the meme coin side, I think Bonk, Toshi, Brett, some of those are pretty cool, but eventually it's gonna die out because like NFTs, it really didn't do nothing. So I think they're gonna take the NFT to a different level when it comes to yeah, right? Shiba just like, dude. Every time I hear Shiba Inu, I just want to throw up. But anyways, like no, it is what it is. We learn, we have our ups, we have our downs, but you got to think of crypto as a long term. I'm 100% behind Jasmine. I think it's probably, with IoT, this is what I always tell people with Jasmine is that when you're thinking of IoT, it's essentially everything that you're using right now, your computers, your laptops, your TVs, your bank accounts, your anything that you do with a computer, that's IoT, right? And having that protection, um, having that massive protection is what Jasmine's really built behind. Lives, I think, I created the blueprint. So this is the Run My Crypto blueprint. I'm gonna start. This is the outlet that I'm choosing. Um, I think that live is, it's better because we all get on here, you all have the opportunity to voice your opinion, and I can answer anything directly versus, you hit a comment and then I have to wait and reply on it. Guys, this is real time, this is real crypto life. So this is the blueprint. Run My Crypto. In the descriptions, you have my X, you have my Patreon. If you guys want to sign up, $15 a month. I won't change it, it's going to stay that way. There's a lot of people that are just charging like hundreds of dollars, and it ain't about that. It's about giving you guys the value, giving you the blueprint for your for your good, right? Everything I do, everything I research is for you guys. So again, thank you guys. Appreciate the gifts, appreciate the donations, appreciate it all. Any questions you guys got before we get out? I'm gonna try to keep it down to 30 minutes daily if I can. We'll extended ones on Friday, Saturday. I think like close to an hour. Sometimes during the week I might be able to push it to an hour, but uh gotta spend time with the family. It's a Sunday. Any questions before I head out of here? If not, guys, I will try to get another one before Thanksgiving. I will try to do one Thanksgiving Day. And if not, and I don't see you guys, you have a blessed Thanksgiving. Guys, reach out to me on X, reach out to me in the Patreon. Anything you guys need, any questions you have with the ecosystems and some of the major projects that I do believe are gonna have some massive potential in the future. You know, we have a lot of solid projects, a lot of solid. You have a nice night too at Tom 80S. That's what's up. Guys, Kim Sims, thank you so much. The answer 70, Jazz Me to the Moon. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys so much. Take care. You guys have a blessed one. Again, remember anything, hit me in the comments, whatever you guys need. Take care. Be blessed. I'll catch you guys on the next one. The Run My Crypto Blueprint.